Africa is changing. Its influence is growing. Its economies are evolving. Its digital future is accelerating.
Federal government saves 15.8 trillion naira from fuel subsidy removal. 2027 election stakeholders demand credible polls. NAPTIP sues Port Harcourt maternity over alleged baby sale. Troops rescue 10 kidnapped victims in Northwest. Joint task force foil planned attack in Plateau. Good day and welcome to a live news update. I am Salome Oladikmo. Here are the major stories making headlines. Nigeria's economic reforms generated an estimated 15.8 trillion naira in subsidy savings between June 2023 and December 2025. The savings, largely from the removal of the petrol subsidy, helped boost government revenues and strengthen public finances. However, the reforms have also increased living costs, putting pressure on households as prices of essential goods and services continue to rise. A live news correspondent, Precious Onu, reports.
The government says petrol subsidy removal generated 15.8 trillion in additional resources in 13 months as it defends the impact of its economic reforms. Finance Minister Taiwo Oyedele says the resources were generated between June 2023 and December 2025, with 5.4 trillion accruing to the federal government and 10.4 trillion shared among states and local governments.
From the removal of the fuel subsidy, the decision to remove the fuel subsidy was undoubtedly one of the most significant and difficult economic reforms undertaken by this administration. We recognize that it has required sacrifices and adjustments from individuals, families, businesses, and communities across Nigeria.
Information Minister Mohammed Idris Malagi described the subsidy reform as difficult but necessary. But the policy has also brought higher petrol prices, transportation costs, and increased pressure on household incomes. At the same scorecard event, Oyedele was asked about claims that some students have not benefited from the Net Fund Education Loan Scheme.
The second question is from Bas Udo, and as we were asking that question, I was smiling. He said he has 3 children in school, and none of them has received NEL Fund. They are not even aware of any friend of theirs who has received it. Something is just telling me in my mind that you need to ask your children to be honest with you. It is possible they've collected the money and they are collecting from you. If there's anything that everyone can attest to, it is this NEL Fund. We've seen video of students randomly rejoicing because it's not only the tuition that was being paid, they get monthly stipend, interest-free, in a high inflationary environment. It's like grants. 1.5 million. You can go to the website. In fact, what you can do, ask any of those your 3 children to give you their details. Help them apply. If you can't find the link, come to Ministry of Finance. We will help you. You will do it yourself. You apply for one of those 3 children and you get the amount. So you can go and ask them what they have been doing.
Oyedele maintained that eligible students can access NEL Fund support, including tuition assistance and stipends. For the administration, the 15.8 trillion represents significant fiscal gains from subsidy removal. But for Nigerians, the bigger question remains whether those gains will translate into improved infrastructure, better public services, educational support, and ultimately relief from the rising cost of living. 30 months on, the government is pointing to the numbers as evidence of progress, while citizens continue to look for tangible benefits from the reforms. I'm Precious Onu for Alive News Up.
Stakeholders have called for stronger security measures and greater commitment to ensure credible and peaceful elections in 2027. The call was made at the Blueprint Newspaper Public Lecture and Awards, where speakers stressed the need to protect the electoral process, strengthen institutions, and restore public confidence in the polls. They also urged political actors and other stakeholders to put national interest above personal and partisan interest ahead of the 2027 general elections. Alive News correspondent Precious Onu has more details.
The 80th edition of the Blueprint Newspaper Public Lecture, Impact Series and Awards brought together prominent political leaders, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to discuss Nigeria's security and electoral future. With the theme, Security Challenges and Integrity of Nigeria's 2027 Elections, the event focused on security threats that could undermine the electoral process and the need to ensure Nigerians can participate safely and freely. Among the dignitaries in attendance were the National Chairman of All Progressive Congress, Professor Nyatawa Yelwatada, the Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, and other dignitaries. As Nigeria looks towards 2027, concerns over electoral violence, voter intimidation, security, and the safety of election officials remain critical. The discussions highlighted the need for stronger security measures before, during, and after the elections, while stressing the importance of protecting voters, electoral personnel, and election materials. Representing the Itsu Nupe, Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, CFR.
In the state of His Highness the Itsu Nupe, Alhaji Dr. Yahaya Abubakar, the Chairman, Niger State Council of Chiefs. He is obviously unavoidably absent. He sends his goodwill and best wishes and has asked that we should place it on record that the historic role of Blueprint magazine, The Sands of Time, has risen to the level of challenging earlier media organizations that have predated it decades ahead of the time it came into the print world.
The speaker conveyed the monarch's goodwill and commended Blueprint newspaper for its growth and contribution to public discourse. He noted that Blueprint has risen to the level of challenging media organizations that existed decades before it entered the industry. Political parties and their supporters were also reminded of their responsibility to promote peaceful participation and avoid actions capable of undermining the credibility of the polls. Stakeholders further emphasized the importance of public trust, noting that voters must have confidence that their vote will count and that the electoral process will be transparent, fair, and protected. The media and civil society were also identified as important players through voter education, accurate reporting, election monitoring, and the fight against misinformation. The event also featured the Impact Series and Awards, recognizing individuals and organizations whose contributions have made significant impact in the society. As Nigerians prepare for another electoral cycle, the message was clear: protecting the integrity of ballots in the shared responsibility. As Nigerians prepare for another electoral cycle, the message was clear: protecting the integrity of ballots is a shared responsibility. For Nigeria's democracy to thrive, stakeholders must work together to promote peace, protect the votes, and ensure that every citizen can exercise their democratic rights without fear.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has sealed a suspected illegal maternity facility in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, over an alleged baby sale involving a Liberian national resident in Belgium. The operation, conducted with the Rivers State Ministry of Health, led to the arrest of the facility owner, an alleged facilitator, and another staff member. NAPTIP said preliminary investigations show the foreign national arrived in Nigeria without evidence of pregnancy, but allegedly took custody of 3 children within 1 month, with about 13.5 million reportedly changing hands. The agency said it is investigating the identities and welfare of the children, their biological and legal parentage, and the financial transactions linked to the alleged deal. NAPTIP Director General Binta Adamu Bello said anyone found culpable would face the law, while urging the public to report suspected cases of child trafficking and illegal adoption. Troops of Joint Task Force Northwest, Operation Fasten Yaman, have rescued 10 kidnapped victims in separate operations across Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara states. In Sokoto, troops rescued 5 civilians after repelling a terrorist ambush in Isa local government area, while 2 motorcycles were recovered from the fleeing terrorists. In Kebbi, troops rescued 3 kidnapped victims in Danko Wasago local government area following an intelligence-led operation. 2 other captives were rescued in Safe local government area of Zamfara state after troops responded to terrorist activity. The victims, who sustained gunshot wounds, were evacuated for medical treatments. The theater command said troops would sustain operations against terrorists and urged residents to provide timely information to security agencies. And that's the latest from Alive News Network. I am Salome Eladbo. Thank you for watching, and stay with us for more updates as they happen.
Africa is changing. Its influence is growing. Its economies are evolving. Its digital future is accelerating. Today, more than 1.5 billion people call Africa home. Hundreds of millions are already connected. And by 2050, the continent will be home to more than 2.5 billion people. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, drives this population growth and mass connectivity. The epic center of opportunity. Africa's scale and Nigeria's growing population create a rare long-term investment opportunity. But opportunity alone changes nothing. Execution matters, because media has changed, audiences have moved, attention has fragmented, trust has become scarce. The institutions that matter in the future will not simply distribute content. They will build trust. They will build